In this episode, I'm going to give you a tool you can use straight away to safely challenge a bully. I'm going to tell you when and how to use it for the greatest impact and how to go about it. So let's go. Hello and welcome. I'm James Brown. I'm a coach-trained business psychologist and I've worked for a long time in senior leadership. Unhappy workplaces can be incredibly toxic, but when you create a happy workplace, amazing things can happen, and that's what this channel is all about. And today we're going to take a look at bullying. And in terms of work, bullying is one of the most searched for terms on the internet, and that reflects a tragic situation for all those affected by it. But it also tells me a few things. Firstly, it tells me we haven't come so far as we think in terms of leadership and management practice. It tells me that our work lives aren't as great as we make out to each other. It tells me we're not getting the support we need in the workplace. And fourthly, it tells me that we don't really know what to do about it. So I'm going to do a series of videos on this topic, starting with this part 1, in which I'm going to give you a tool you can use straight away to begin to tackle your bully or your bullies, because of course there could be more than one. If you want to skip straight to my explanation of the tool though, look in the notes below and you'll see a time code there and you can skip straight to it. Bullying, like most forms of abuse, relies on a conspiracy of silence to continue. What I mean by that is many, but not all bullies, don't want to admit what's really going on, even to themselves, and there could be all sorts of reasons for that. But it's often because the bully doesn't want to think about or confront the pain they themselves are suffering. And in many cases, breaking the conspiracy of silence may be all that's needed to end, or at least moderate, the bullying behaviours. So let's start off by taking a look at what bullying is. Now, most people, including me, go to Wikipedia for some sort of idea about that, so here's what that says. Bullying is the use of force, threat or coercion to abuse, intimidate or aggressively dominate others. The behaviour is often repeated and habitual. One essential prerequisite is the perception by the bully or by others of an imbalance of social or physical power. Sometimes both, of course. Behaviours used to assert such domination can include verbal harassment or threat, physical assault or coercion, and such acts may be directed repeatedly towards particular targets. Rationalisations of such behaviours sometimes include differences of social class, race, religion, gender, sexual orientation, appearance, behaviour, body language, personality, reputation, lineage, size, strength or ability. Basically, any way that you're different from the bully. So, who's affected by bullying? Well, the short answer is almost everybody, because if you're not being bullied yourself, you almost certainly have been, or have seen somebody being bullied, or have talked to somebody who has been bullied. Be sure about this though, bullying is never a good thing, and it affects everyone. So I'm going to tell you a bit about the Ladder of Inference and how we can use that to challenge a bully. Now, the Ladder of Inference was devised by a guy called Chris Argyris back in, I think it was the 90s. I'll put the exact reference in the description notes below, so if you want to go and look at the original writing by Argyris, you can go and check that out. But I'm going to kind of give you a simplified version. There's lots of videos on YouTube and other resources where you can look at this in detail. But really he developed it as a way of describing how we human beings make shortcuts to reach actions and form our beliefs and so on. Now, if we didn't do that, we'd be completely overwhelmed by our environment, the stimuli in it, and trying to process everything one bit at a time would just be too much for us to do. So we have to take shortcuts and that involves assumptions and beliefs. And Argyris plotted out one way that he thought that the mechanism of that might function. And so if you imagine a ladder, maybe I'll put a graphic up on the screen or something. At the bottom rung is what he calls observable data. That's what's happening around us. It's the facts, it's the undeniable facts of the matter. And then we select data from that based on our beliefs, and we'll come on to that in a moment. But from that selected data, we make assumptions about what's going on. We start to apply our own kind of meaning to it. We based on our experience, our knowledge, and our emotions, we make assumptions about what's happening with that. And from that, we draw conclusions about causes, we draw conclusions about what's going on for other people in their minds, in their emotions. And from those conclusions, we formulate our beliefs, and those beliefs might be, what sort of a person that person is, or what they might do in a future situation, so that we can constantly gauge each other's actions against what we believe, and then we act on those beliefs. Now, that helps us to get through life. It helps us to get through and make sense of the world without constantly stopping to think what's going on. But the trouble with it is that we use those beliefs that we formulate through applying meaning to what we're seeing to back down the ladder to what data we select to build our assumptions. So it becomes this kind of self-perpetuating loop, like a ever decreasing spiral, if you like. We home in on the things we believe we're going to see, and that's played out in all sorts of psychology experiments over the last 60, 70 years or whatever it is. We tend to look for data in the environment that confirms our own beliefs, and that's the confirmation bias. So that's playing into the Argyris model of the Ladder of Inference. Now, the way this is relevant to tackling bullies is that often when we feel we need to tackle a bully, we tackle them at too high a level on the Ladder of Inference. So we'll tackle them at the assumptions, conclusions, or beliefs stage. I believe you're a bully. Right, now they might not believe that for reasons I said right back at the beginning of the video, where they're probably in denial about their own behaviour because they're acting out based on their own emotional suffering, pain, whatever. Now that's not to excuse their behaviour, because I don't think that's okay. But this is what's going on for them. They're probably in denial about it. So if you come in and say you're a bully, you're acting at your level of belief within the Ladder of Inference. So what you need to do is bring it back down the ladder, right down to the observable data level. So rather than saying you're a bully, stop bullying me, you need to say something like, I notice in this meeting you've asked everybody else for an opinion and you've left me out. Now, in the context of a meeting, that's very powerful, because there are peers around, and this is one of the most powerful uses of this particular tool, is in the context of a social context, because the conspiracy of silence that I talked about at the beginning of the video is really crucial to a bully perpetuating that bullying behaviour. So if you break that silence and name what's going on in a way that is completely undeniably fact-based, then that is going to be extremely awkward for everybody, but especially for the bully. I notice when you're going around this meeting, you're asking everybody else for an opinion and not me. You don't need to say anything more. It will land, and the bully will think twice about doing that behaviour again next time. So that's it, really. That's the crux of it. Try to bring your level of challenge right back down to the observable data level. Be aware the thing that you want to say is probably not the thing that you should say to get the greatest impact. Just check yourself, be aware of it, think about what is going on here that is the unacceptable behaviour, and just name it. Just say it straight out. I noticed that this has happened. There's not a lot they can do to challenge that, because especially if other people have witnessed it, it names it, it gets it out in the open, it breaks the conspiracy of silence, and they will think twice about doing it in the future. Now, that will probably cover a great number of scenarios, but there are other types of bully, there are other types of bullying situation where this isn't going to work, and we'll look in later videos at ways and means that you can do that and challenge those behaviours as well, or the different types of bullying. So look, I hope that's been really helpful to you. I really want you to go out and try that technique on your bully. Leave a comment in the description below, in the comment section below, and let me know how it went. And now you've got a safe tool here to challenge your bully's behaviour, because they can't argue with it. You know, if you're naming the thing that happened, the fact that happened, it's going to make them extremely uncomfortable. And they don't want to face their own problems. They don't want to face their own problems, particularly in a public place. So they're going to back down pretty quickly, or they're going to say nothing, but they're certainly going to think twice about doing it again. So thank you very much for tuning in and checking out this technique for tackling a bully, and of course you can use it for other types of behaviour too. Try out the technique and let me know how it goes by posting a comment below. I'd love to hear from you, and maybe, you know, other people can get involved and help. I want to build this into a community of people who like working in a happy workplace, who wouldn't want that. Check out my other videos when there are some. This is the first of actual content. There's a trailer video where I talk about the things that are coming up on the channel, so you can watch that. Subscribe to the channel, that would be really good, and have a look at my website. And when I figured out how to put a link here or something, I'll do that, and you can click straight on it. Otherwise, on the landing page of the YouTube channel, there's a link in the bottom right hand corner. So I don't know which side of the screen that is because it mirrors. Okay, so thanks very much. I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.